What's going on, guys? It is Laser here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I've got the weekend market analysis coming tonight, and I'm going to try and keep it concise and streamlined to maximize your time. So let's jump right in there. Right now it's Friday night. It is 10. It's just right. It's 11. It's 11:10. Man, I really should be sleeping right now. I know a lot of you guys follow my updates on Twitter, and where I typically will share my weekly insights. I don't like trying to tweet very constantly. I like to set my thesis for the week, and I like to let it write out. I often get questions throughout the week asking me, "Hey, what do you think now? What do you think now?" I like to stick to my thesis week over week. And let it right out. And I understand that there was a lot of buzz around the stimulus, which is what a lot of people are like. Hey, does that change your thesis? And even earnings as well. To be honest, I think it's unclear if the stimulus is actually going to impact the price. For now, I think the news came out, and I mean, we saw what NIO did on Friday. It didn't really do much. It finished minus 4%. So for the time being, I'm not really gonna dive really deep into that at all. That's not going to be part of my thesis. And that now also with the earnings coming up on November the 20th, some are expecting kind of a big move. I'm like, if you do a quick search for NIO on Twitter and you kind of like scan down and see what people are saying about NIO. So many people are like, yep, the bottom's in. This thing's going to melt up. It's going to go all the way to the top. It's going to rip. And I disagree. I see a potential for that lift, that short-term price action where it's bottoming out here. Like a short lift, but I also see it kind of following and coming down much lower. And a lot of people think like that's me being bearish on the stock or like a perma bear. Like, I'm gonna tell you right now, like, I'm not one to try and like push the stock down or throw FUD or like be bearish. I'm here to just give my analysis. And it's just really like just looking at the price action, looking at the velocity, and just telling you where I see it's going. Which kind of brings me to like my next point. A lot of people, and I don't want to say everybody, but it's quite a lot. And I do search up like other like people making like content on NIO, and I think it's awesome that the NIO has a great community of people like making great content. But some of the content that I've been seeing, a lot of people, they kind of get caught up with every little reversal, and they say like the bottom is in. For example, over here where it kind of looked like it's bottoming and you had a reversal, a lot of people were convinced that the bottom was in. Same thing over here. Same thing over here. And I see on Twitter people are saying the MACD's curling, the RSI's curling, They're saying all those great things. Like everybody's, they got their technical analysis. But where I think they've got that wrong actually is it's super easy to get these like smaller moves mixed up with the bottom. In each of those moves, I can tell you, if you were to go back in time in a time machine and look at the tweets, there was the same people pumping like it's gonna go to the moon and it didn't. It's gonna go to the moon and it didn't. Time and time and time again. You got to be careful. It's NIO, and I don't think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be the exact same. It's the exact same like situation. You got people calling for the moon, and it ain't gonna do that. And I want to be clear, just because I've had somebody kind of bring this up, but I'm not making money here from YouTube, on Twitter, or any of my content. I don't have a Discord, and I'm not out here trying to make money. This is just my passion. I love sharing my analysis, and my goal is really just to share my insights so that we all can kind of learn together. But having said that, guys, please do your own due diligence. Please do your own research. I'm just here just dropping my own opinion. Now, if you want to like stick around and learn, it's like unfortunately there's not going to be a lot that's changed from this week versus last week. And if you watch my last week's video, you're going to hear a lot of the same things. But let's start here and break down the velocity here from a 24-hour time frame. You can see here velocity broke to the downside, which that's like one red flag, okay? The velocity breaking, that's a red flag. The velocity making a lower low, another red flag. And if the bottom was in, you would want to see it making like a higher low. So, and another red flag, the stimulus news that came out and it still didn't launch. I mean, now everybody's praying that earnings is what it is that's going to set this up. But anyways, let's dive a little bit deeper here. People are like, well, where are you getting 380 from and $3? And like, I've explained it and I'm going to explain it again just for the people that just don't quite get it. You could take 2 points. And again, that's a month of like trading down there. There's liquidity down there. And that's where I'm getting these price targets from. 390, you can see $4. I think it's going to be heading there. Now, when I dive a little bit deeper into the 12 hours, yeah, it's starting to look pretty decent. Like it's holding this line. It's making higher lows. It actually is giving you a bullish divergence right here. You can see this lower low on that price. You got the higher lows. That's good. Those are good things. That tells me like the price is going to go up. But you want to know something? It did the exact same thing here. Bullish divergences. It did the exact same thing over here. Bullish divergences. It did the exact same thing over here. Bullish divergences. And in each of those cases, we went lower after the run. And I don't see it being any different. Now, if you missed my last week's video, I also talked about why I feel more confident that this is coming down. And this is just a good like recap. Take this off, the velocity. This is a 200-day moving average. This is the juicy technical stuff. So we'll try and wrap this up, not spend too much time, but this is where it made like a lower low, right? A lower low on the velocity, and you got this price action. Something looks off here. Was it the 4 hour I was going to do it? Yeah, sorry. I got to go back to the 4 hour here. I apologize. 4 hours. This is the golden one that I like to do my analysis here. So you can see here, it made a lower low and it built up to only get slammed back down. What did it do? Lower low, built up to get slammed down. Higher low, higher low, higher low. We talked about this last week. Do you see that? Oops. That's a lower low. Okay. And the last time it got a lower low was right here. And the time before that, like this was a lower low relative to this, was here the last 2 times. All right. And that's why I think we're going to get something like that. Makes sense? Now there's going to be money to be made to the upside right here. There's the potential to make money if you were to go long down here. And I know some people are longing at this $5 level, but just bear in mind that if it doesn't break this trend line that I just drawn out right here, and if it does exactly this, and you went here long here, you have the risk of actually going red 20%. Are you going to take profits if you're longing here, if it reaches resistance? The only time I'd consider hanging on to that is if it gives you that break above. But signs point to like the lows, like signs point to like lower lows coming in. Now, if it was so obvious that NIO is going to crush it on earnings and this stimulus was going to be so amazing, I honestly think there would have been more bids and they wouldn't have actually let this get a lower low. There's a bigger move here at play, and the bigger move is actually going to be to the downside. But again, I think that will also be followed up by with the higher low. So you can see here, it comes up from a velocity standpoint, it'll make a higher low. And boom, right? And this might even come down lower here, right? And you're wondering like, oh, I should have entered at 5. It's going to go down to 3. Just, I mean, like, ideally, you don't want to be looking at a long until this thing is broken. But if you want to take a chance, your best long entries are always come at the bottom of a trend line. And from a short perspective, like if I were short the stock, like if I was going to short the stock, and I want to be clear, I don't short the stock. I'm not short calls, and I've had some people accuse me of that this week too. But if I were to do that from a short perspective, let's just remove some of these drawings here. I would not close. Like if I were short, NIO, I would hang on to my shorts until this thing breaks. Like the only time I'd consider covering my shorts is if that broke. That's when the short thesis is broken. And that's when I think it squeezes. And that's where shorts, I think, will kind of like, they'll cover shorts. Anybody who like shorted this run right up here doesn't have to close until this thing breaks. They can even double down right here, which I think is very likely to happen. Because if you invert that chart, best time to get long, you guys. And I'll tell you what, if you were short and you decided to short here and you fucked it up and it broke back up, on that retest, your position will slightly go green and give you a chance to get back out. It'll give you a second chance. And that's why I think there's going to be shorts who will take a stab once it gets to that point. And it might not even get that high, guys. Given that the stimulus is now out of the equation and all that you really got now are earnings, you might only see, I mean, I think that's what's most likely to happen, but it could also do this, right? It might not even like break through that, but I don't think it's going to, to me, when I look at the velocity, why am I not able to zoom out? Did I fucking close my indicator? I did. Where is it? There it is. I meant to click remove drawings, but I removed indicators. Okay. And that's why I think it's going to go up into next week. Is it broke the 200-day moving average? It's building something. 12 hours, it's giving you bullish divergences. On the 2 hours, it's kind of trending higher. On the hourly, it's actually starting to make a higher low on the 200-day moving average. It looks bullish. It's rounding out, and it's getting ready for that run. But if it doesn't get above this trend line, it's worthless, guys. Like it's, and I cannot stress enough that it's very, very, very likely to go down into 380, like just below 4. So if you're long at 5 and it rips, it may not be a bad idea to take some chips off the table. You don't have to, but if it comes all the way back down, don't say I didn't. Don't say nobody warned you about that. All right. Let's look quickly at the broad market here. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, kind of saying the same thing over and over on the TA on NIO. Like, and I also want to address one more thing. I should have did it in the beginning of the video, but next week I will not have time to make a video. I'll try and make up for it by putting more tweets out, but during the earnings and next weekend, well, actually I might be able to do it next weekend. I'm trying to think. I might be able to get something out on next Friday night, actually. So ignore that. Broad market. Okay. When you look at like the BABA, you look at Hang Seng, look at BABA. It's doing everything that I said it was going to do last week. It's going to come down to this trend line. It probably comes even lower. You look at the Hang Seng as well. It's just kind of just straight that golden pocket sitting at 19. And you look at the Dixie. Okay. I believe, like, you know, they all are kind of indicating that there could, like, Dixie looks like it can ride higher, which would actually mean like more downside for the Hang Seng. And the sweet spot is a little bit lower for the Hang Seng, and BABA, that sweet spot's a little bit lower, which tells me that NIO's sweet spot's going to be a bit lower. I mean, there's your confluence if you're looking for confluence. But again, quickly touching on the Dixie, if the Dixie actually rejects here, which I think it will do, because it made a lower low on the 200-day moving average, which often is, like, the last time it did that was right here, where and then it gave you that nice, it gave you a huge lift, but it followed up with lower lows. I think we're going to see something similar where it's going to take out these lows at 100, and you'll see 98, 97. Who knows? But I think that's in the works here, which is going to actually send like Bitcoin, the SPY. It's going to send everything flying when this starts rejecting and coming down. Perhaps another rate cut in December. That'll do it. Trying to think if I missed anything. Like, I want to wrap up, and I guess like my closing thoughts really just for the video is like, for everybody who's been watching, for the rest to watch the whole video, thank you for tuning in, everybody. I really do appreciate that. Obviously, as always, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to get future updates. I've been keeping an eye on some meme stocks like GME and like AMC. I may drop some analysis in the future. If you guys are interested, let me know in the comment section below if you'd be interested in seeing some analysis on GME and AMC. For now, I'm sticking to just NIO, and my thesis again for NIO going into next week, just so we're clear, is that I believe the price will rise back and give you that kind of double top near 6, maybe 620, 630. But I mean, I think it's rising up for a big move to as high as like potentially 680 to 670. We're going to have to see how this all plays out next week. That's it. Thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you guys who've been watching, and I hope you guys all have a fantastic weekend. Let's keep this analysis rolling, and we'll see where this takes us, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Cheers, and have a good day.